Hello, everyone. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, wait, turning down my mic. Don't want to do that. Want to turn down the volume of the music. There we go. There we go. How's everyone doing out there? Welcome to Lou Reviews. I'm so happy that everyone is here. Sorry for the late notice on the show. I didn't think I was going to have a show today, but I was like, man, I got to do this show today. If I don't, I'm not gonna have time for tomorrow's show. And tomorrow we've got a pretty cool show. So once again, welcome to Lou Reviews, the destination for critical thinking in the realm of the unexplained. Today's gonna be, again, a fun show. We're gonna go over the Yes Theory documentary, puff piece, 7-day intimate vacation with Dave Grusch. Gonna get into the whole thing. I have not watched it at all. I've seen people commenting about it on Twitter. Apparently it's so good. People are crying. Let's just see how good it is. Let's see what information is in there. I have a feeling it's going to be very similar to the Jesse Michaels interview, but we shall see. Anyway, let's see here. Okay, got that going. Want to say hello to everyone in the chat. Simon Fly, Stone Ape, Steve Long, Kimball Mortensen, Pat Calabria, Complizert, King Milkfart Harassment Archive. Thanks for being here. Simon Fly, Renee Cruz. Hey, everyone. Welcome. All right. So let's switch up our setup, shall we? So the title of the video is 7 Days. 7 days with the man who confirmed aliens exist, in parentheses under oath, which is not true. He did not confirm aliens exist under oath. So right off the bat, I think we're off to a rough start. 8.53 million subscribers. It's already at 429,000 views. Let's see what they say in the description. Thank you for watching and being here, and I hope we managed to spark your curiosity about the phenomenon and deepen your empathy toward the humans who experienced it. This has been one of the greatest journeys of seeking discomfort I've ever embarked on. I hope you take some time to keep exploring as I did 3 years ago. We've gone again through the thank yous. It looks like it's the same thank yous that were in the Jesse Michaels video. Again, a couple of these folks, major red flags, folks who are not very honest with the narrative of this, folks who've written articles that have been just straight up wrong and haven't retracted any of it. Leslie Kane specifically, James Fox specifically, John Mack, who we're going to be talking about tomorrow, and who was also, just so many things wrong with his work, but also just the people who funded his work also are shady people. Lou Elizondo, we all know the history that this show has with that guy. Dr. Gary Nolan, the gentleman who can never be questioned. No question can be answered if it's too good. It's just met with a block. Jacques Vallée, who we're going to dive into soon here. D. Dean Johnson's, again, sort of deconstruction of the Trinity case and the fact that Jacques Vallée and Paola Harris sold and pushed a bunch of bullshit. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's just bullshit. Diana Pasulka, who got yelled at by, was it Avi Loeb, the Galileo project, that yelled at her for being a little too woo and a little too kooky? Red Panda Koala, no considerable beef there. I mean, he makes good UFO documentaries. I don't know if he belongs in this list of folks, but I know that he helped with editing, sourcing material, information, things like that. I mean, we disagree on the belief of this, you know, and I think that's where we disagree most, and a couple of other things, but no need to go there. Ross Coulthart, again, we've talked about Ross Coulthart ad nauseum. We're hopefully going to have a guest from Australia here pretty soon. We're going to do it this weekend, but that just fell through. Maybe we'll get it up next weekend, but, you know, diving into the history of Ross Coulthart and all of the things that he's gotten wrong and hasn't retracted. You know, Ralph Blumenthal, again, just Leslie Keen's, you know, co-pilot, and Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. So, you know, this is just a list of people, for the most part, that give really terrible information and very biased views of things. And with the exception of John Mack, only because he's passed away, and Red Panda, none of these folks like answering hard questions. And they don't take interviews that ask hard questions. So, again, not a great start. So here we go. Yes Theories, 7 days with the man who confirmed aliens exist, again, under oath, which is so inaccurate. But here we go. Oh, and by the way, let's do this too. Got to do my fair use. Fair use. This is transformative work. We are educating the public and critiquing the videos we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and allowable by law. I am the law. Anyone? Judge Dredd? All right, here we go. Again, we're going to be pausing this and stopping this just to make it a transformative work, to make sure we are commenting on this, so that way we don't get a copyright strike. I'll be reading comments. Good to see all you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Share the show. Tell everybody we're doing the watch party. And I did get to watch the first about minute of this, so I know that it opens with a lot of
no way connected with any secret department of the United States.
There we go. There's one from
the Air Force called before a congressional committee, said it was hiding nothing.
We have not been hiding anything. The sighting has been kept in the unidentified category. We've been perfectly willing to say that, too.
The Air Force is simply treating the American people like children. They don't trust them with the facts.
It was not anything from this earth. All I could do is keep a mouth shut.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence by the military-industrial complex.
There are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove truth's protective layers.
Yes, there have been ET visitation, there have been crashed craft, and there is some group of people somewhere that have this knowledge.
Now, the vehicle that you just described, how similar was it to the very first sighting that you had back in 1951?
Now, these are compelling. Gordon Cooper, Edgar Mitchell. Compelling, right? Astronauts, Apollo program, American heroes, not kooks for the most part. Doesn't mean they're not mistaken, or doesn't mean they weren't given a line of BS that they thought was real. Because even at their highest classification clearance, outside of aircraft, they weren't privy to anything. They can't look into programs having to do with things outside of their purview. So, you know, I do enjoy the story from Gordon Cooper about the craft that landed, that he said he filmed and then it scooted off. He turned in the film and then the film disappeared. I mean, man, it's compelling. It's fun, but it's not proof. It's just not proof. So this is a classic move from UFO documentaries to give you these quotes and these really credible people, and that's how you start them off. That's how you start off your credibility, right there.
Quite similar to basically the same planform vehicle. They were a double saucer, lenticular.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide
worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real.
We have nothing that goes that fast and just starts climbing at will.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable path.
If you ever open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on there.
So many people ask me that question. I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting.
President Obama says that there is records of objects in the skies, these unidentified aerial phenomenon, and he says we don't know exactly what they are. What do you think that it is?
I would ask him again. Thank you.
Apparently the military have hundreds of these encounters, but most of the time they keep it to themselves. There's a stigma, and so a lot of these sightings are simply not reported. The floodgates could be open as now the stigma is beginning to be removed.
A former U.S. intelligence official, an Air Force veteran, claims a top-secret program is withholding evidence of alien spacecraft.
Air Force veteran Dave Grusch is exposing what he calls a top-secret military program that has reportedly found wreckage of fully intact UFOs.
Non-human, exotic origin, vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do. Yeah.
We do.
How many?
We sure do. Yep.
Quite a number.
Congress this week holding its first hearing on UFOs in more than 50 years.
We begin with a highly anticipated hearing on Capitol Hill about unidentified flying objects.
He is going to tell committee members that he has knowledge of a covert government program to recover crashed alien spacecraft.
Still waiting. Still waiting. What has it been, 115 days, something like that, since Dave Grusch went to this hearing? And we still have no
wow, so long in the making, bro. So long in the making.
None. Don't know any programs.
Nice to meet you.
Don't know any people.
Let's do it. You travel light, man.
Don't know where it is. Don't know who funds it. Can't even name the companies under oath in a public setting.
Yeah, having to put a tie on and a suit jacket. It's not a.
Oh, is my
all of that is in the bag?
Oh yeah, I rolled it. Yeah.
Wow, that's hilarious.
The large guy has the smallest suitcase.
So how did I end up in a car with the UFO whistleblower testifying in front of Congress tomorrow to let the world know?
It's not low. It's just the video's really high.
Back 3 years, where I found myself in the middle of a very bizarre experience.
There we go. Is that better?
Ask some of the most fundamental questions I've ever dared to ask about the nature of existence itself. In the fall of 2020, with no prior interest in the topic, I visited a small town in Massachusetts to talk to a number of people who had experienced a mass sighting of UFOs in September of 1969. Over 300 people from a few neighboring towns saw something in the sky that defied our known laws.
Thanks, Jeff, for the heads up.
And it just hovered right there. Not a sound, nothing.
But even more bizarre than that, dozens of children went missing that night and claimed to have ended up on board of a craft.
And then the only thing I can remember after that was being levitated over on the street.
I had never felt more of an unsettling disconnection between my intuition and rationale. On one hand, I felt an overwhelming sense of empathy towards these sincere humans who opened up to me about their traumatic events. And on the other hand, those events had no place in my construct of reality. Was I being lied to by dozens of people who had nothing to gain from this besides humiliation and judgment?
Again,
or is what I consider to be reality?
There's only two options. Either they're lying or their story must be true. There's so many stops on the Disclosure Expressway between they're lying and they're absolutely telling the truth. So many stops. And just because more than one person saw it doesn't mean it's alien. Mass sightings, there have been mass sightings that have been wrong in history. We have one on video from COVID. We had a Goodyear blimp stop the entire New Jersey City Turnpike to film what they thought was a UFO and turned out to be a blimp over Monday Night Football. It happens. And to mock those people would be really mean. It's not fun. Like, nobody wants to mock them. And I agree. Showing them empathy is probably the best route. It just when that there is a line when that belief turns into something cultish, where no other rational explanation can be entered into the discussion. It's immediately shunned every single time. And there's nothing open-minded about that. There's nothing welcoming about that. You know, and unfortunately, like it again just puts people into a community of self-healers instead of seeking professional help. So I recommend, you know, as always, to seek professional help before you enter the community of, you know, hypnotherapists and crystal healers and all that, you know, doomsday prepper jazz stuff, you know, where they're selling you, you know, buckets of food. Thank you, Blizzard, for the $3.33 euro donation. Lou, do you know Rap, that Mexican? He reminds me of you. I know. I don't know. What's his name? Maybe I can look him up. Yes Theory's interview with Tom Reed was unprofessional. I'm curious to know why you thought it was unprofessional. I have to check it. I haven't watched it.
In the months that followed, I started gradually researching the phenomenon.
But I have a feeling
hundreds of witness testimonies from civilians and military personnel from all over the world.
Again,
what really stood out to me was the fact
that Alaskan air flight
described similar details about what they experienced while unaware of each other's stories. And even though the mere mention of the subject has been systematically stigmatized, in recent years, things have changed quite a bit.
The Navy says it still doesn't know what the objects are, and officials aren't speculating.
Oh, that's his name, that Mexican? I'll check him out.
CNN, the objects seen in the various clips are unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs.
They go fast. It's going 45 miles an hour.
Rising after the New York Times published an article in 2017, which confirmed that there was indeed a secret Pentagon program.
Oh man, we're just gonna get a lot of
denying it.
Just
with more awareness on the issue came more
history building, lore building, so that way you believe what comes right after this.
Then in June of this year,
and that's what this is, you know.
News Nation interview broke out
again,
about an American
brief article
who had some groundbreaking information.
That was their last stop.
A News Nation exclusive
break in case of emergency. We go to the debrief
because
they'll definitely post this.
Intelligence official who this week is making some bombshell claims of a U.S. government cover-up going back nearly a century.
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles.
The United States.
Ryan Adams, I've seen you chime in here a few times. It was debunked. It was. The two pilots don't agree on what they saw. As a matter of fact, the second pilot didn't see any of the things that the main pilot claims he saw. And that guy got demoted at his job. Not because he saw a UFO, but because he thought he saw a UFO. Nothing came up on, we had Jazz Shaw on to break down that entire case. And it was one of the most disappointing moments on the show because that was one of my favorite cases. It has been debunked, my friend. I'm sorry. There was no craft. There was no walnut-shaped craft going around the 737 while it's traveling 300 miles per hour. That did not happen. So I would look into it again there. Ryan Evans,
States
with all of your caps.
Spacecraft. Intact craft.
We do.
That secret program's mandate was to find and retrieve crashed or landed UFOs in order to reverse engineer them for technology that the government can use.
Yeah, the head of the FAA.
Require extraordinary evidence. Dave was called to the stand to back up his claims.
Was he in the plane?
For the first time in US
Did he see it?
Okay, but how did I meet Dave in the first place?
He didn't, did he?
This is the man who connected the dots. Jesse Michaels and I met in 2022 due to our mutual interest in the phenomenon. and we've since gone on a few truth-seeking adventures.
You guys also work together.
He is one of the brightest and most well-read multidisciplinary thinkers I have ever met, and his curiosity on the subject has massively inspired me. Jesse and Dave had connected a year prior to the hearing, and just a few days before it was scheduled in DC, Jesse organized a call to introduce me.
So there you go. Now you know for sure they met a year before the hearings. A year. This has been in works for a year. This makes so much sense, man. Why they cut parts of why they pre-recorded the Grusch interview for News Nation over and over and over again, and they made sure to cut out the things that they were going to give to Jesse Michaels for his 2-hour documentary, and then Yes Theory will get their slice at the Grusch Rush with their 1-hour documentary, and all three claim that this is groundbreaking, whistleblowing, aliens confirmed, exist under oath, and none of that happened. It is wild to me how wrong this is. The history, that's great. You're well-read, you're a great thinker, but even your peers, Eric Weinstein, has said that you are brain damaged when it comes to the UFO discussion. Your research, and it's great research. I look, from a cinematography standpoint, from a sound perspective, again, this looks great. It's eye candy. It sounds good. It's good narrative building. It's good storytelling. But that's all it is. It's a story. And the fact that it's being sold as confirmed, as fact, that's where I have a problem with it. And that's where you guys refuse to get uncomfortable. You need some other researchers that know just as much as Jesse Michaels, but have a much even-keeled viewpoint on it. They're not as biased to believe. You have a surface level knowledge of all this stuff, just like most folks. And that surface level knowledge, man, that's what gets you in the door. That's what gets you in the rabbit hole, because it's so compelling. What? An astronaut said what? A pilot? A pilot said what? A DOD official? What? Tell me more. And then you get to it, and it sounds fun, sounds compelling, but then when you start asking the real questions, like, okay, where, who, what, when, why, how much? All of a sudden, there's nothing there. He still hasn't been approved to get into a skiff to talk to lawmakers. He hasn't passed his security clearance, Dave Grusch. There's so many holes in this guy's story and his background. And we're just accepting this as confirmed. Aliens exist. Yes Theory's got the scoop. Not the Washington Post, not the New York Times, not the National Enquirer, not TMZ, not Sports Illustrated. Yes Theory and Jesse Michaels get the scoop on the biggest story ever told. Tell me how this makes sense.
Introduced me to Dave, which by the end of it, I was
PR
convinced
campaign.
That his story had to be told, and not through the lens of
a PR campaign that they've been planning for a year.
The distorted news cycle, but rather a meaningful exploration of his story and motives as a human. On that same call, I took a shot in the dark and asked Dave if he would let us document his story as the congressional hearing unfolded. And to my complete surprise, he said yes. In fact, we were the only ones who had this type of access to Dave during the hearing and the days that followed.
Saying yes, seeking discomfort.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the ultimate seeking discomfort.
Seriously, yeah.
It's not just seeking discomfort on an individual level to be in the place that you're in today. It's also what you're telling to humanity is a moment of seeking discomfort for a collective.
How do you expect this to go?
I think there's, the people who have been kind of following the subject for years, I think it might be a little bit of letdown because I can't necessarily say everything I know. You know, it's like, and I'm working on trying to get more things cleared for the hearing. You know,
like still
literally as I'm working, I'm talking to the DoD security office. Like as I was getting off the plane, like, please get something approved by 10 a.m. Because I wanted to be able to provide more detail. There's like a certain thing where it's like, shouldn't it be the president saying this stuff? Like, I don't want to be the purveyor of disclosure because I don't have all the data. I'm not in that leadership position, and you know, I'm just trying to, you know, use a public pressure to kind of, you know, to get the executive branch to make a decision on what to release. Did all the checks I could possibly do, you know, within my, you know, kind of official capacity. Realized it was real, and then
realized it was real.
You know, I had a lot of pushback that was very unfortunate. You know, reprisals against me and stuff, and that kind of was what led me to file the whistleblower complaint. You know,
all right, let me pause this here for a second because we're having a problem with my camera. What's going on with the camera, man? Switch to that. Interesting. Well, that could be why. Maybe that's why. Maybe just a loose connection. Sorry, guys. Thanks for the patience here. Fire the camera, man. I wish I could. I should fire his ass. All right, let's see. See if it works. Please work. Please, sir. Wow. One more thing I could try. Reset the room, Fifi Barbora. There we go. All right. I got it. Sorry, guys. I had to unplug the whole camera from the computer. All right, we're back. So I kind of missed what he said here. I don't think it's that important. Clearly, because it hasn't made national news yet. But let's go back and listen to it. Oh, gosh. All right. Let's go back and listen to it. And of course, I'll be editing this on the podcast. All right, here we go.
Seriously,
it's not just seeking discomfort on an individual level to be in the place that you're in today. It's also what you're telling to humanity is a moment of seeking discomfort for a collective.
How do you expect this to go?
I think there's, you know, the people who have been kind of following the subject for years. I think it might be a little bit of a letdown because I can't necessarily, you know, say everything I know. You know, it's like, and I'm working on trying to get more things cleared for the hearing. You know,
like still
literally as I'm working, I'm talking to the DoD security office. Like as I was getting off the plane, like, please get something approved by 10 a.m. Because I wanted to be able to provide more detail. There's like a certain thing where it's like, shouldn't it be the president saying this stuff? Like, I don't want to be the purveyor of disclosure because I don't have all the data. I'm not in that leadership position, and you know, I'm just trying to.
So he's admitting he doesn't have all the data, and he's begging the DoD to release information where they're like, nah, we're good. Dude, like, and he hasn't provided any of those details in a private setting. Because I think if he had, we would have already seen another hearing by now. If he had provided details where they were able to look at the programs, see that the people were there, see that the money was flowing there, see that the programs actually existed, I think we would have had another hearing by now. But we haven't.
use a public pressure to kind of, to get the executive branch to make.
He's such a hero.
Yeah,
that's the thing too, man. He's such a hero.
Within my, kind of official capacity.
He's the only guy. Shouldn't be the president doing this.
During that investigation, I had a lot of pushback.
Yes, Dave. It should be the president doing this.
And stuff, and that kind of was what led me to file the whistleblower complaint. A, for my own protection, but B, was to kind of sound the alarm. They try to claim all these things against me, conduct-wise, mental health, and all this other.
But that counts. That counts. It's part of the story, man. We just want to toss that aside. That stuff that doesn't get included with the story, the mental health aspect of it. And we've gone over those issues. Come on. James Craig, thank you for the donation. You're welcome. You're welcome for the review today.
Unfortunate stuff. I was in combat in Afghanistan 2013.
Okay, here's another thing. Nobody can find that he was actually in combat in Afghanistan. Combat, active combat. He got shot at. He shot at other people. Bombs going off around him. Extraction. Black Hawk Down shit. He claims that. Not really. He just says he was in Afghanistan, serving in Afghanistan. Doing what? Because your job title doesn't usually fall in the category of being under active fire. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm an idiot. But there have been other military personnel, a Marine in particular, who's come out and said that's inaccurate. You've never been to war. Straight up called him out on it. So these are things that we need actual facts for. You're going to make this claim. Okay, where'd you serve? When? What battalion? Were you actually under fire? Was your life in danger while you were, serving? Because you claim the PTSD, then I have a feeling the next thing they're going to talk about, PTSD. Even though the PTSD is not linked to combat, it's linked to his best friend dying, killing himself. So it's just, it's shady. There's no other better way I could put it. I was trying to find a softer term. It's just shady.
I was on convoys outside the wire. I had a friend die, got blown up, and all this other stuff. Baggage that I had for 2-3 years after coming back. And, I got diagnosed with, post-traumatic stress disorder, sought treatment. I got help.
Okay. If that's fact, we should be able to see where, when, who was his best friend. Like, those are things I want to know, because if he's telling the truth, it adds to the credibility. If he's just saying it, that's a problem. And no one's provided these records. So I'm not saying he's lying, but I'm saying I want to see the proof of it, because there are other things in your past that we've come to the surface that we didn't know about before that make me question whether or not this story is true, because we've also gotten now 2 versions of the story. So now a friend got blown up in front of your eyes, and that's what gave you the PTSD when you came back. That's what gave you PTSD, and then they shipped you back home. There's 2 stories. Which one was it? Was it best friend killing himself or best friend getting blown up? Was it both? When you're telling the biggest secret in the world, and you're claiming that you're this whistleblower that is doing the job of the president of the United States, we need to know the facts of everything about you. Every single thing. We can't just take your word for it. I'm sorry. We can't.
good to go, but there was an agency that tried to dig that back up and say, oh, Dave still has ongoing issues, unmitigated.
What agency would dig up a man that served in Afghanistan, saw his best friend get blown to bits, and came home with PTSD? Why would any agency dig that up and use it against him? What they dug up was the police being called on you 2 times by 2 different wives. 2 different women were scared enough to call the police on him. And when the police showed up, one of them thought they should seek the professional advice of a doctor. And that doctor sent him to a psychiatric ward. That's what was dug up. That had nothing to do with Afghanistan, had nothing to do with getting a friend blown up to bits. That had to do with alcoholism and stress and PTSD and a bad moment. That I could understand why an agency would dig up and use against you. The other stuff, I don't understand why an agency would bring that up and use it against you. And I think if that war story is true, and that's how you got the PTSD, then it's understandable coming home and having issues and working through those issues multiple times. No one's criticizing you for that. I completely understand that. But it's part of the story. It's important. It's important because, again, you're making the biggest claims anywhere, ever, in the history of humans. So these things are going to be brought up. But be specific, Dave Grusch, about what they're digging up. What part of it are they digging up? My camera went again. Interesting. All right. You know what?
We need to pull his clearance. And then I had to show my medical records and be like, no, dude, I sought treatment. Still do, because that's what you do. And they tried to use that against me. It was crazy. You know, I spent basically 2 years fighting.
We'll just talk for right now. Give the camera a rest. Let's see what happens.
Allegations, and I still have my security clearance. Yeah.
It's been 20 minutes, and I can't even begin to express. Yeah, I feel sad that he had to go through what he had to go through to be able to simply share the truth.
So that's it. He's already believed. He's already believing it.
Country and for that.
He's already believing it. He's done no background work, no checking to see if any of that stuff's true. He just believes it. And I mean, maybe it's understandable why he just believes it. I mean, they are driving the Congress, for fuck's sake. You know, like, it's understandable, but it's like you're finding out this information now. You're talking to the guy now. And did you do any research on him? And I know some of this stuff came up before the hearing. You know, did you ask him about why isn't he specific on any of the programs? If he's a real whistleblower, shouldn't we know at least the companies? Shouldn't we know the program directors? Shouldn't we know something that is actually of substance that actually leads people to go and find things? He hasn't done any of that.
For that to be used against him.
You know, like, again, you put up your service record, your resume, Afghanistan, PTSD. Now, nobody could question it. Nobody could question it. And they actually feel empathetic for you. I don't know if it's a tactic. It's just tough, man. It's, again, shady. Just shady. You know, because when you look at the body language experts, the guy that sticks out like a sore thumb as if he's acting, as if this is rehearsed, is Dave Grusch. He's the one that they all have the issue with. He's the one that is claiming aliens exist, even though he hasn't provided any proof of it. Zero proof of it. Me too, Meryl.
against him. Like, it's weird because it's both an exciting position to be hearing this stuff straight from him, but also like very sad to see what he went through to be in the place that he's in today. Yeah. No.
I think Skeptics have done pretty good editing. Go look at Stephen Greenstreet's stuff. I think his breakdown of Skinwalker Ranch and the OSAP program is some of the best, most important work out there on the topic.
Hi, I'm Diane Macedo. We begin with a highly anticipated hearing on Capitol Hill about unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. 3 men who previously served in the military are set to speak publicly about what they saw in the sky and heard behind closed doors.
It is the day of the hearing. We've got people waiting in line for us, which means that we'll just go swap with them and be able to go into the hearing.
Great. There's a reason why these guys are getting all the access. There's a reason. And again, like, the thing that this could have been me. Like, this could have easily been me. I'd be 4th or 5th in line to get Grusch on the show. Like, without a doubt. Without a doubt. If I had fired Rather and I had leaned into the woo, I'd be getting the 500,000 views on a Dave Grusch interview. Can you imagine him on UCR? That would have been a blast. It would have been a blast. You know what it is I think it's because I left on my camera after a meeting yesterday. I don't know.
Humidity's not too bad yet. So I'm keeping the suit jacket off until
Honestly, it looks amazing for having been rolled up in a backpack.
You gotta roll it tight. I used to go to the Pentagon a lot. I'd bring like a sweat rag with me in the summer. I'd like, when I enter the Pentagon, I'm like wiping my sweat off. So, yeah.
How are you feeling?
I was a little restless last night. But I was told last night that they requested me to be cleared for a closed session after today.
Yeah.
But the request was denied.
Wow.
I was blocked. So
now that's either one of two reasons. Either there's something huge to hide, or he's lying. He's not being honest, or he's mistaken. And the facts that he have aren't that great. Man.
So that's like obvious obstruction. Yeah, hopefully I can make a difference, and I'm the guy that will inspire more people to go public.
He's in. I just can't imagine the amount of pressure he's under right now. Like, coming out to say something that people in this government and other governments have wanted to be silenced for the past 70 to 80 years. Right now we're gonna go take our position in line because they're gonna open in about an hour, so.
I mean, that's something right there. It's just like 70, 80 years, all governments have been quiet about this. All of them. And now that Dave Grusch has come out, how come no other governments have come forward? No other government whistleblowers? Where are all the other international government whistleblowers? Where'd they go? Anybody know?
Thank you. Literally first in line. They've been standing here since 2 a.m.
I love it. This guy just gets to cut everyone who's been there since 2 a.m.
You see right now that there are people that are coming in, but we just got some news, and what you're about to see is these doors close relatively quickly, and I think there you go. That may be all that there is. The reason that you just saw
look at that, Jesse Michaels. It's just interesting that like it's like clearly there's a power dynamic here, right? Like, yep, Jesse Michaels gets to go in first, set up all his shit. And everybody's got to sit there and wait because he's the guy who's got the documentary with Dave Grusch. So he's got to get in there. Interesting. Interesting. Just very interesting.
In that corner, but they only have about 6 or 7 available seats. You've got, again, hundreds of people waiting in line, if not more than that. So what I'm told is there is
hundreds of people? The line ends right there.
6 or 7 available seats. You've got, again, hundreds of people waiting in line, if not
hundreds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. There's about 40 people. And that's on the high end in this hallway. 40 people. Thank you, Meryl, for the $20 donation. I appreciate it. No problem. I appreciate that somebody appreciates my perspective. Fuck this camera. It's killing me. What the hell? What the hell, man? I want everybody to see my awesome face. I mean, it's, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. Very bummed out. Ever since I updated this OS, it's been, the computer's been kind of kooky. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie here, folks. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway. Darn it. All right. Your camera stands with Grusch. Oh, man. If that were true. If that were true. All right, I'll just leave it a black box right now. All right. Yeah, so like 40 people in the hallway. It's just...
if not more than that. So what I'm told is there is going to be an overflow room, Brian, that's set up. So the interest is huge, obviously, and we're seeing it firsthand here today.
The interest is huge. He's the only guy from the news there. Looks like, at least in the hallway. I mean, like, where are all the other reporters, man? It's just, come on, dude. Again, if this was a significant hearing, not only would the seats, and again, this is a small room, so not only would the seats in the crowd be sold out and packed and full. Ooh, look at this. So we get behind the scenes. Look at this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cameramen, 9 camera, 10 for the largest announcement in human history. 10 cameramen.
Phenomena, or UAPs, will come to order.
The UFO is emerging as a major topic of global importance.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth?
Look how many empty seats from the lawmakers there are. Again, there was only 10, 12 lawmakers that came through, and not one of them were on the committee, or not any of them serve on any of the committees that are actually relevant to this discussion.
Whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. I made the decision, based on the data I collected, to report this information.
That's not a crazy statement. A crash recovery team for unidentified aerial phenomena doesn't mean it's alien. It doesn't. UAP is an acronym that they use for terrestrial objects. And to have crash retrieval teams, like, it's hilarious. We just had a jet, a $1 billion jet disappear. And the Air Force had to implore the help of the internet to help find it. They couldn't find their own jet. What kind of crash retrieval teams do you think we have in waiting in the wings in the scary wings of the government? Give me a break, dude. So dumb. So dumb.
During a training mission in Warning Area Whiskey 72, 10 miles off
So
the coast of
dumb.
Miami Beach, 2 F-18 Super Hornets were split by a UAP. The object,
And another guy, Brian Graves, who hasn't seen this firsthand, none of this stuff.
Soon these encounters became so frequent that
He hasn't seen any of this stuff. This is all of his buddies talking about this. He saw the square within a sphere, which has been found to be radar reflectors.
If you could just name anything.
I'd be happy to give you that in a closed environment.
Yeah, name us. And here's the thing. Now, this is even more shady. This is even more shady. He's a whistleblower. Before this hearing, he said himself, I was trying to get permission to give more information in a closed briefing. And here is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez asking him for specifics. And he knows he's not going to get into a closed setting with her. So what's his answer?
Anything.
Give us anything.
Give you that in a closed environment.
I'd be happy to give you that in a closed environment that I know I haven't been approved for. So therefore, you're not going to get anything. Ooh. Whistleblow, bro. Here's your opportunity. Be as bold as you've been on News Nation. Be as bold as you've been with Ross Coulthard. Be as bold as you've been with Jesse Michaels. And now, Yes Theory. Don't be afraid to get uncomfortable. Actually whistleblow something. Get your opportunity. I'd be happy to provide in a closed environment, which I know I will never get approved for. Because I have possibly a questionable past.
I can tell you specifically.
Thank you.
Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
Again, that doesn't mean it's alien. Doesn't mean it's alien. Yes, we've recovered UAP with biologics on it. Okay. What does that mean?
Are you aware of any individuals that are participating in reverse engineering?
It means that something fell from space and had microbes on it. Could be a satellite. Could be a high altitude plane or balloon. Could be a million things. But it's classified as a UAP, so therefore somebody went and retrieved it. So yes, there's a UAP crash retrieval program. Yep, sure is.
Engineering programs for non-terrestrial craft.
Personally, yes.
Do you believe UAPs pose a potential threat to our national security?
Yes, and here's why. The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had, and you could put that anywhere. You're talking something that can go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants, and leave, and there's nothing.
No disrespect to David Fravor, but if there is technology that is terrestrial that can do those things, he wouldn't be read in on that. So he doesn't 100% know for sure. I have a feeling what they saw was something being tested. And transmedium craft already exist. We already have them. We have drones and missiles that can be launched from submarines and fly into space and then come back down and blow something up. Those things are real. And in 2004, those things existed. And in 2004, they were testing those kinds of things.
Nothing
compelling, but if it's so compelling, give us all the data on that on the Go Fast, Tic Tac, and Gimbal. Give us all the data of those 3 videos. All of the data. They've been declassified. We know they exist. So let's get all of the data points on it. Let's get all the cockpit recordings. Let's get to the bottom of this, because budgets are being made off of these videos and we don't have all the information on them. We just don't.
Nothing we can do about it. Nothing.
Do you have any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal these extraterrestrial technology?
Mm-hmm.
In the last couple of years.
Yes, I love the softball questions that he's getting from the people that love him. Luna, Burchett. I wonder if they'll play the other congressman's questions about the specifics of aliens killing humans.
Yes, personally.
I just want everyone to note that he's coming forward in fear of his life to put in perspective if they were really not.
Jeremy Corbell in the background. Yeah, that's goddamn right, because I've told her to say that.
Thank everybody. We made history.
That's one of the points. Yeah, they didn't play any of the other congressmen that asked him actual questions. Why'd you guys leave that out? Yes, Theory? Why'd you guys leave that out? Luna, Burchett, Ocasio-Cortez doesn't get any answers. It's a puff piece, man. This is a propaganda piece. Propaganda theory.
I have no baseline with knowing if this went well or not, but in my perspective, there was a lot of repetition. A lot of the questions were just alluding to things that were already mentioned in public before. I wish there was a lot more attention on Dave and Dave's story these days.
I wish there was a lot more attention on Dave and Dave's story. They asked him a ton of questions. He just didn't fucking answer anything, buddy. You're so close. You're right there. You're right there. It's like you're kind of answering your own questions.
It all boils down to transparency. People don't trust government.
It all boils down to transparency. People don't trust government, and these guys be lying to us. The whole world can benefit from this, even though I have no idea if any of this stuff is true. I don't sit on any committees that are privy to that information. I don't know any classified information because I don't have access to it. That's just my feeling, because Ezekiel in the Bible. Ezekiel is in the Bible, therefore aliens are real. Some god dang it crashed in Roswell. These are all believers at their core. All of them are believers. They're all ufologists. They're all go to UFO cons. They all watch the UFO shows. They all consume the same shit that we have consumed and that we've enjoyed, we've disliked, we've commented on, we've expressed our opinions on. These guys are all believers. And I think the same way Tim Burchett is falling for David Grusch's story is the same way David Grusch is falling for the stories that were told to him. He had the belief system going into this story. It wasn't hard to sell him. It's just like Richard Doty explains how he got Paul Benowitz to buy all that shit. You give him a little truth, and then you just hook him. You got him. Reel him in. And that's all this is. I know that's not fun. It's not sexy. It's certainly not comfortable if you believe in this shit. But it is what it is. Lower fear. Right on, man. Thanks for being here. Yeah, like Univision and just plain microphones and an iPhone. Like, if this was a big deal, you would see ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox, the big ones. The big ones. Where are they, man? Like, they're looking for clicks. They're looking for views because that's the way news works. That's the way news works these days, is clicks and views. Profit. Are you telling me Fox, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, the Daily Show, like none of these guys wanted to cover this hearing? Only Univision was there? Come on, man. If this was a big deal, they would have wall-to-wall coverage of it. They would have a pre-show talking about who's going to be at the hearing, what they're going to discuss, what they think's going to come out of it pregame. Just like they do with debates. Just like they do with any breaking news. They try to gather information and they just stay on that story because it's clicks, it's eyeballs, it's views. And they didn't decide to cover this? Why? Why? Give me a good answer to that question. Anybody.
It still left me pretty frustrated that most questions asked were from the lens of the national security interests of the US, when clearly the implications of this topic are far beyond that. And that gave me the idea to do a different type of hearing with Dave the following day.
It is now the day after the hearing, and
this ought to be good.
Absolutely viral all over the
Oh,
world.
Jesus.
David Grusch.
David
Here we go.
Major David Grusch.
Here we go.
شهادة القائد السابق في جهاز الاستخبارات ديفيد جراش.
Aerial phenomena นะคะก็คือ
And just to be clear, this isn't wall-to-wall coverage. These are segments. The news mentioned it. They talked about it for 5 minutes, and then they moved the fuck on. Like, cover it like a hurricane. Let's see that.
ก็คือเป็นปรากฏการณ์ที่ทางด้านของเดวิดกรัช
Nereden biri David Grusch'tı.
David Grusch riskerar fängelse om han skulle dömas för. congresso sobre OVNI.
David Grusch.
Es un ex oficial de inteligencia y este hombre se llama David Grusch.
Technologii pozajemskiej.
Один Грэша или Груша даже. Пусть будет мистер Груш.
Il faut dire que Grusch a l'air très sérieux, il est vétéran de l'armée de l'air.
好来看到这3位军官表示，
空军退役少校格鲁什还爆料，
一番驚いたのはこの真ん中です。元空軍の情報証拠。
Having friends that I had talked to about this topic like years ago hit me up being like, oh my God, what is this? What's going on? And an idea that we had honestly after the hearing is what it would look like to set up a true public hearing where Dave gets to answer questions from strangers who are coming here not having any idea that they're going to be talking to the whistleblower that is telling humanity that we're not.
Oh, great.
Posted on Instagram last night just being like,
Oh, okay. This is what it is. It's the same fucking thing that they use. It's the same interview and coverage that they use for Jesse Michaels' show or documentary. They invited all of their employees to come ask Dave Grusch questions, but they're pitching it as a second mock hearing in this version of the documentary, whereas in the other version of the documentary it was just like, well, we asked their employees to come on down and ask Dave Grusch some questions. In this documentary it's another trial. We're gonna treat this as another trial for Dave Grusch. What a joke, dude. What a joke, dude. What a joke.
like, hey, if you are a skeptic or a believer in UFOs, please send me your most pressing questions. We set up this little public hearing in the rooftop of our hotel, and now we're say hi to people and bring them up here.
Who are these people?
Hi guys, nice to meet you. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you? Good.
Alright guys, we're going to Antarctica all together. And
The ASM is the only group of people that will show up to something they have absolutely no idea. But I promise it's going to be worth it. I still can't say much until we get up there.
Let's seek this comfort and follow me.
Yes, dude. Oh, I got this for you, buddy. Let's go. Oh.
Public hearing. Public hearing number 2.
All right, come on.
This group is a pretty even split between skeptics and believers, and we want both perspectives to be represented here in the questions that you asked. So this is a true public hearing for everyone.
Yeah. They told me last night. I'm like, all right. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be crazy. Have a coffee.
How do you feel after yesterday? Because I haven't seen
Good. I mean, it felt like when I was playing basketball in high school, you get the pregame jitters. You're like, oh my god, what's gonna go on? It was so cool to see
the bipartisanship, because it's just gotten so bad over the last 10 years where, it's the liberals and the super conservatives. And I thought it was the craziest thing. I was telling him in the car, I have AOC and Matt Gaetz agreeing on something.
Should we open the floor?
First of all, they're not agreeing on anything. They're just curious. And have they the real meaning of bipartisanship is, okay, hey, this is where we're both interested. Now, from this starting point, how can we work together? I can promise you Matt Gaetz, AOC, and Representative Tim Burchett haven't worked on another bill together since that hearing. Promise you that. Extraterrestrial Explorer Enclave, thank you for the $5 donation. I've bought 6 memberships and you haven't said shit. Oh, good show though, I guess. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for the membership. I apologize. You know what? You're right. I should have called you guys out. I've been meaning to do that and I keep forgetting. And you're right. You're right. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I got to change this thumbnail. Change this thumbnail. Change this thumbnail. I'm going to change the thumbnail. There we go. Boom. Diggity. And then. All right. Let's go home here. All right. So Lord Bass, thank you for joining the membership. Extraterrestrial Explorers Enclave, thank you for joining membership. Kimball Mortensen, thank you for joining membership. Man, I just saw all these. Holy Jesus. Cameron T, Stoned Ape. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. All joined 0 days ago. Eventide, Meryl, Grilic, Meryl, thank you. King Harassment Archive. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Lisa Gardley. Okay, so these are from 5 months ago. Complizier signed up 2 months ago. Dana Shadell 4 months ago. So okay, I got those guys. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't get the I didn't get any notification. So I appreciate all of you guys joining. Holy cow. Damn, you guys. Thank you. That's a lot of people. All right. Thank you very damn much. Thank you very damn much. Seriously, I appreciate it.
I guess like one of the
You guys have no idea how much I appreciate that. Truly. I truly, truly do. Thank you. You don't have to do that. Hard-earned dollars. Thank you. All right, let's see what these people ask.
Why do the politicians, why do the people who are higher up feel like they need to hide the evidence, or why do they not want us to know that?
Yeah, I mean, I can only know what the mindset was, multiple decades ago, and anything in government, they're resistant to change. So this is the way we set it up. They basically took the Manhattan Project secrecy and overlaid it on this issue, and then they realized the military and the national defense potential if the reverse engineering basically was successful. So we're gonna lock it down, and then you remember trust in government was high back in the 40s post-war, and then also society was less secular. So there's they're worried about the religious.
He's taking UFO theories.
Well.
Here we go. Now we got the Pope.
They developed we'll call it disclosure plan for what it's worth, and they just were like, this is the way it's been, and we're gonna keep it that way, and we don't want Russia and China.
Now, will somebody ask him, okay, if that's the case, why hasn't Australia come out and said anything? It's been 80 years. How come no other government has come out? Well, what about the Russians? Are you saying they don't crash land in Russia? These objects? China? Any of these superpowers that would love to get the beat on the United States when it comes to telling the rest of the world that aliens exist? All of these other countries, all of these other superpowers, all of them. We'll wait for the US to pick this one up. Give me a break. Give me a break. So what you're saying, Mr. Grusch, for 80 years, you're the first guy? You're the first guy that's come out? How come no one else? Where are the other 40 people? When are they coming forward? Do they even know that 40 people have been interviewed? Who are these people? This guy will take questions from anyone but actual reporters, actual journalists. Because an actual journalist would cut right through this bullshit. And Ross Coulthart, in my humble opinion, is not a journalist. He's not. Every single media outlet passed on this story to a point where they had to break the glass when the emergency arose and publish it on the debrief. On the debrief. The biggest story of all time. Can't find a newspaper to run it because there weren't enough facts. There weren't enough facts to corroborate the things he was saying. But let's put him in front of a group of half skeptics and half believers.
Exposed to any of this info?
So he can tell you UFO gobbledygook. UFO gobbledygook.
Fortunately, it's that kind of low energy thinking, you know. Yeah.
Next question, please. So continuing from what you were saying, are we safe as like a human species? Because
great question.
I might have watched too many movies. But like,
yeah. I mean, we can only, through external observation and a humanistic lens, kind of see intent, if it's malice or benevolent. I mean, if the universe certainly has a yin and yang.
He said they killed Americans. He said it killed Americans. Extraterrestrials killed Americans. The question is, are we safe? The answer would be no. What is this dancing around? And I know you're a new member, Kimball, but the bias is palpable because there's no evidence. There's no evidence. I'd love to be unbiased on this. I'd love for this to be real. I'd love to do a 180. I would love it. I would love it. We get one version of the story here, another version of the story here, or one version of the answer here, a different version of the answer here.
Yang, so there's certainly dark with light. So I think it's a mixed
dark
bag.
with light.
Humans,
it's a mixed bag.
Humans are generally kind, but we also kill animals for food. And like if you were a cow, you'd be like, these evil humans are gonna chop me up and eat me. So it's
I don't know, because cows don't really think like that.
Malevolent as a whole, but some lower sentient species would see us as malevolent. So it's what lens you look at through. And I be very general in this to protect this person's identity because they're still on active duty. But like I remember interviewing a guy, and I have a background in psychological analysis and other stuff to assess people. And
cool.
Like 3 hours, and it was a certain very senior Navy individual that saw he was going to work at a certain facility.
Certain Navy individual, certain facility.
And a 300-foot triangular craft hovered over his car for a couple minutes. And he couldn't even process what he was seeing. But then he took pictures of his car after the incident, and all the zenith upper-facing decks of his car got hit with ionizing radiation, ultraviolet, because the paint became milky. His headlights they were totally clear. His car was perfect before the incident. And I'm like, holy crap, you have physical artifacts. The guy we assessed, he had a normal psychological composition, no weird belief system.
Normal psychological composition, no weird belief systems. David Grusch, no offense, has a not normal psychological history, and he has a weird belief system.
He's just a dude.
He's just a dude who's going to work just like me.
Huge craft. At least the physical proof he provided. He drew what he saw. No sound. These weird omnidirectional lights. Kind of that classic, triangle. Like, holy shit. I didn't believe in UFOs, but these guys are like, they can't be lying to me because they certainly are credible guys and have a lot to lose. He was super scared to come forward.
Why don't you bring that story forward? Why don't you bring the photographs that were taken and the analysis done on the car and the paint? Why don't you bring that forward? You're telling us the story, so clearly it's not classified. Maybe John Greenwald could find this story because it was a Navy guy. He's active, and it was at a naval facility. We got the details of the story. What happened to the paint? The blast ionized radiation on the up-facing, whatever he said. There's got to be a report of it. It's clearly not classified. There's got to be photos of it, right? Why didn't you bring that? Why didn't you bring that, dude? Unreal. This camera.
Word. He didn't tell his wife for 5 years. That was, I think, an inflection point for me where I'm like, okay, there's something going on that's not adversarial tech. Talking to these people that were literally in tears, telling me this stuff because it was an emotional thing that they could not process analytically.
So weird.
It was like totally beyond their comprehension. So, for what it's worth, yeah. I've never seen anything, believe it or not. So I came in as non-believers.
And this is coming as somebody who's a bit of a skeptic.
Encoding overload.
Very good at like secrecy and maintaining that area of secrecy. But you know, there's 180 some odd countries, 190 some odd other countries. How come we haven't seen more of this coming out from maybe other smaller countries? I mean, you mentioned Grenada, you mentioned San Marino.
Yeah.
Have we seen more of this? People have just been not paying attention. Has it been a lot of like forcing them into silence?
So there are certainly friendly governments both across the pond and let's say local to where we are landmass that are for this, and a lot of them know that they got a raw deal with the U.S. because they were basically.
All right, let me try something here, guys. I'll be right back.
Through kind of agreements, like bilateral and unilateral agreements, and they're like, you know, they kind of want to be release me, like, you know, because they do realize it was a bad deal. With the ecosystem secrecy, some people, one of their arguments is like, oh, how would they keep the secret? I'm like, dude, I was cleared to some of the nation's most sensitive programs. I used to handle the PDB. You know, I had full access to most DoD activities, and most of the stuff, broad programs that were enduring, have never leaked. So the U.S. and its allies are very good at keeping secrecies, to include programs that are, we'll say, global in nature. And really, it's been leaking like a sieve in some weird way for many decades. Now it's been mixed in with some BS in ufology and stuff, but the general gist of it's actually been out there for a long time. It has been leaking.
All right, let's give that a shot, see if that works.
Open it up. I just want to ask, like, why don't we discuss like cognitive biases? Just in general, you know, like where you grew up defines like, okay, if I look up at something in the sky and I'm looking for something and I really want it, then it's going to be true. Or maybe it's the fact that as a child you saw aliens that were green and they had antennas, and so I don't know. I guess I'm just wondering why we're coming to conclusions about it existing.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm skeptical, I guess. I think maybe it's fabricated to an extent based on our beliefs.
Yeah, it's like manifesting your own reality based on your. No, I totally get that. Even some of the metaphysics, and I was like super careful with confirmation bias and all that, and like I came skeptical. Like,
confirmation bias and all that. Is all that a thing?
You know, where are they?
Like, is all that a thing?
Kind of thing.
I was really careful about confirmation bias and all that. It's like, come on, man. We could do better than this. Oh.
Should have a presidential panel on UAP.
Let's see, where's this girl? Such a good question. She's like skeptical. Now he's gonna give her just.
That were green and they had antennas, and so I don't know. I guess I'm just wondering why we're coming to conclusions about it existing.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm skeptical, I guess. I think.
Why are we coming to conclusions about it believing?
Our beliefs.
Yeah, it's like
is he going to answer the question?
Based on your, no, I totally get that. Even some of the metaphysics, and I was like super careful with confirmation bias and all that, and like I came in skeptical. There's like the Fermi paradox, or no, because Enrico Fermi was famously like, well, you know, where are they overtly landing on the White House lawn kind of thing. But because we have like tangible physical evidence, at least you know the U.S. government does. There is a there on their existence, but like what are they for, like, you know, actually, you know, like we talked about, it's like if they do exhibit bilateral symmetry and they're bipedal and everything, that's like, wow, what is the chance in biologically for them to develop in a similar way than us? What if it's an intelligence engineering beings to look like us?
Is this what you wanted in Congress? This discussion? This is supposed to be a hearing. He hasn't answered this fucking question. Sorry, I keep cursing. I'm sorry. It's annoying.
For ease of contact. Totally worth looking into it, and I wish it was a area of study that, you know, wasn't.
Why are you looking at Jesse instead of answering the lady's question?
Figure it out.
You have a guy who's a tenured PhD, Nobel nominee at Stanford, who claims to have crash parts with isotope ratios not from this earth, who's studying it. You have a guy
and also won't answer any questions at all on the isotopes and or the ball shavings that he got from some LSD former rock and roll retired rock star. And when anytime you mention it, he gets super pissed and tells us to do the research. I mean, it's like, come on, dude.
of a guy at Harvard who's a head of the astrophysics department who has set up an entire institute that is setting up sensors to find these things. We should never evangelize or proselytize the answer being there are definitely aliens. But I think it's like reality is a lot weirder than we think, probably due to a lot of empirical stuff that people have picked up, and it's our job to like look into it.
This is more about like getting people to ask bigger, better questions rather than necessarily have answers. What we're creating with, you know, with Dave and Jesse, like this becomes an invitation for people to look deeper into this, and we're gonna make sure that we're gonna leave in the description like the list of things to read, things to watch, interviews to check out.
Yeah, my biggest outrage was just like, wait, if this was broadly studied like nuclear physics, right? How you make a nuclear bomb, classified. Physics, not. And the sequestration of astrobiology, astrophysics, etc., where you could build undergraduate, graduate, and postdoctoral programs of record to actually study this shit openly? Holy shit, that's like way better, and we can, you know, potentially develop novel solutions for energy, etc. Who knows? But no, it was sequestered because it's like this like arms race thing. I'm like, man, this is ridiculous. And that was another reason why, you know, I whistleblowed, yeah.
Has this changed your perception on theology?
I grew up Roman Catholic as a kid, the whole confirmation thing, CCD and all that. You know, it was reasonably...
Thank you, Tad, for the donation. He says, I don't dislike him, but he just doesn't come across as a serious person, much like Davis when I hear him interviewed. Yeah, it's just like every question is like, whoa, oh, yeah. You know, it's like... Every question is so nonchalant, you know. Yeah, you know, I was in Afghanistan, saw my friend get blown up, got PTSD, and came back here and the whole thing, you know, like, bruh. It's just, it's always nonchalant answers, doesn't answer any questions directly. You know, I don't care about his theology. I don't care.
Physics, I became kind of agnostic. I was like, I don't know about all this kind of woo-woo, you know, stuff that the church espouses and stuff. And then, oddly enough, I've kind of come full circle. I think about the journey I had and the most random people that I've known that were placed in my life like 14 years ago, you know, shut the door in my office at NGA and were like, look, dude. And, you know, they started telling me all this stuff that I was, and they brought these like crazy intel reports that
these crazy intel reports that I looked at when I wasn't supposed to. Like, this guy came into my office. Trust me, bro. He told me it was true, and he showed me pictures and everything. And I told him, I can't look at this, but I'm gonna use this information one day in Congress to tell people the aliens are here and killing people.
And it was like so wild. I mean, really, I'm not like trying to be hyperbolic at all. And yeah, I guess I'm
not trying to be hyperbolic at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
What does the future look like? I mean, it seems like all we can do is research right now.
Yeah, what is happening next is I know there's some intel officers and other people in and out of government that are file complaints similar to what I did.
Okay.
I said, fuck it, you know, and then they were on these programs.
Well, let's see.
First-hand dudes, you know, not
let's see. Still waiting.
Touching the stuff. February of 2024, we should have a presidential panel on UAP disclosure looking at the crash retrieval issue and everything.
February? Did he say February? He's giving dates now?
We're going to get some retrieval. Or we should see the dudes touching the stuff. February of 2024, we should have a presidential panel on UAP disclosure looking at the crash retrieval issue and everything. And then within 300 days of the enactment of the act, we're going to get some kind of, I think, government statement next year on this topic. The tsunami wave is
how would he know that? Oh. It's not hyperbolic. He's not prophesizing. February 2024 next year. There's going to be some kind of hearing, and then 365 days after that thing's enacted, crash retrieval program. Hold on to your butts.
Is building, and I don't think we're going to totally backpedal anymore. Other than that, it would be totally speculation, but that's at least...
Other than that, it would be totally speculation. Just these moments that taste and look like a propaganda psyop kind of thing. Beyond that, let's just go back and listen to what he says here. And his hand gestures and his facial expressions are killing me.
Complained similar to what I did, because they said, fuck it, you know, and then they were on these programs, like firsthand dudes, you know, not people telling me stuff, like literally the dudes touching the stuff. February of 2024, we should have a presidential panel on UAP disclosure looking at the crash retrieval issue and everything. And then
a presidential panel looking at the crash retrievals and everything.
Within 300 days of the enactment of the act.
300 days of the enactment of the act.
We're going to get some kind of, I think, government statement next year on this.
So a presidential panel wouldn't be a government statement. There's going to be another government statement after that.
Topic. The tsunami wave is building, and I don't think we're going to totally backpedal anymore. Other than that, it would be totally speculation, but that's at least what's going to come. I think 2024 is going to be, knock on wood, potentially wild in a good way.
We heard that about 2022, 2023, 2020, when the end of the world was supposed to be here. Now it's 2024. John Ramirez says 2028 or whatever he says. Some of these guys say 6 months. It changes depending on who you're talking to. It changes. Anything beyond that, though, would just be, oh, that would just be speculation. It'd just be speculation on my part.
So, yeah.
Do you think this is going to make countries, and especially U.S. adversaries, work together or kind of push them apart?
I'm hoping it's going to be de-escalatory when it comes to peer competition, and like we have bigger things to either look at, worry about, etc. And I understand it's not going to create some utopian society where nobody's going to care about feudalistic dominance, like, you know, Russia and China, South China Sea, Ukraine, whatever.
I won't point anymore.
I hope that it's like a moment of pause where people could be like, okay, we have need to look at our priorities and at least come together in some sense more than we are now. So I think it's a uniting thing versus a dividing thing. I hope that's a result of what I did. That'd be good for me, because I was in war and I've seen the evils of the world, and I'd rather not, keep on going. Humanity's not going down a good path right now. I think everybody can agree it's divergent, both sociologically, and there's these very dangerous hot wars that could lead to like a World War III type scenario.
Yeah, I think there's something so beautiful in like us reassessing our entire existence and really figuring out how do we move forward if reality is even crazier than we ever thought, and the only thing we can do is to influence our local environments and just be as good and as kind and as loving as we possibly can, then that's what's gonna ripple into this greater reality that we're.
Overall, beautiful message. I really like it, honestly, for real. Like, it's true, right? Treat your neighbors as though the way you'd like to be treated. Totally understand it. I know my neighbors. I know pretty much all my neighbors. People across the street, everybody knows me in this neighborhood because I talk to people. So I get that aspect of it. But these weren't good questions. This wasn't a hearing. you know, and this is not what you would want in a public hearing, these kinds of answers and discussions and questions, because all of this theorizing, all of this philosophizing, it goes nowhere. It goes
we're a part of. I hope you guys realize like how truly unique / historic this is. There is certainly millions of people after yesterday that would want to be in this room having this conversation. So it is really, really wild that we get to have this opportunity. Thank you for sitting.
Somebody say alien.
I'm proud of the The craziest part is that we're going home with him today. Like we're flying back to Colorado with him.
Everyone is trying to do their best. So now we're about to go to Dave's house. Everyone is trying to do their best to be as sensitive and caring about the topic as much as possible. As he said the other day, he would rather not to do this and rather want someone else to do it, but he feels that he have to do it, and he have all my respect. There's this quote saying that speak even if your voice is shaking. The thing with Dave is that his voice never shakes. It feels like he's the most confident man I met in years.
See ya. Yeah. So we don't film exterior.
Yeah.
Just making sure nobody knows I live here.
Jessica. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, man. I love the old segment. Yeah, man. I love the old segment.
Defense program.
It feels pretty surreal to be in his house right now. Like, his phone has not stopped ringing, hanging up on reporters all day.
Now I'm muted. What is going on? What is going on? 5 minutes. 5 minutes I've been talking. Holy cow. 10 minutes. Blue Mimes. Dude, this update is really flabbergasted everything. That's too bad, because I was saying some funny shit. Particularly this part right here. Damn it. Damn. I was muted for 10 minutes. Amazing. Okay, so you guys missed my montage song and everything? Oh, damn it. That was some good material there. Lost to the mute. All right. Well, okay. There is this funny moment here where I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I did not notice the mute. Okay, so
it feels pretty surreal to be in his house right now. Like, his phone has not stopped ringing, hanging up on reporters all day.
He's been hanging up on reporters and journalists all day. You know, like answer, hey, what's that? What's that? ABC News? Nope. Sorry, I'm here with Yes Theory. They get the scoop. Click. So, what's that? 60 Minutes? No, sorry, I can't. I'm doing American Alchemist. Sorry, they got the scoop first. Check my debrief article. Click. Like, he's actually hanging up on actual journalists. It's amazing.
He's such a cutie.
Yeah, it's such a cutie.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, of course he's a dog guy. Gotta love a dog guy, right? Like, it's like, I'd like David Grusch. I would. I'm sure he's got interesting stories, and I'd love to hear about them. Do I believe what he's saying is true? No. Do I believe he's lying? Oh, it's tough to say. I definitely believe he believes what he's saying. Now, whether or not that information is accurate, who knows? Ah, gosh, I'm still thinking about this 10-minute mute. And for only, what's the membership now? $4.99, $5.99? You could be a member of this show. Again? No, dude, please. You can't hear me again? I'm back. Somebody tell me you can hear me. My audio says you can hear me. No, I gotta check the channel now. Should be back. Should be back. Yeah. No, I gotta check the channel now. Yeah, see? It's working now. Come on, guys, don't do this to me.
I probably cried through the first hour of it, just like relief, and everybody treated him with respect. Everybody had.
This looks like a pretty new house, man. It's kind of barren, very echoey. This is cool. We get to meet his wife, I'm assuming.
Done their research, like I think it just went so well. From the previous 4 years of like him getting dragged through the mud, it was just a big relief.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you have any like views or opinions on the phenomenon before kind of?
No, not really. Like, I'm not a big sci-fi person. He would come home and tell me like general stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's probably aliens. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, as well, like, I think Dave is like inspiring people beyond this subject. He dares to speak about something, gives the opportunity to other people to speak about something.
Yeah.
He's enabling other people to speak their truth.
Wow.
That's almost fine.
So like kind of BTS style?
For the next few hours, Jesse sat down with Dave for the most in-depth public interview that Dave has given to date. You can watch it on Jesse's channel, so please check it out after this one. At this point, we had all been going non-stop on the topic since the hearing took place. So we decided to have a change of pace after Dave invited us out on an adventure.
I had like the fastest llama, and at the end everybody was like, oh my god, because the llama just going for it. Oh my god.
Dave ran this morning in a llama race with his wife. They placed 17th, so.
You guys are still Colorado tradition. I'm holding on for America.
I'm never gonna live that one down. No, it's just amazing. It's not 5 minutes, but thanks. It's
So this is apparently one of Dave's favorite stuff to do in the world.
You can definitely hear me now.
A to B together with him. See Dave being Dave.
Years ago, I minored in German in college, and I was majoring in physics, so I've just kept up with the language, over the years.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. I love it. The more screwed up the show is, the more super chats we get.
And before we said goodbye to Dave, we went on one last hike to get some answers to some of our biggest unanswered questions.
Why did you decide to do this with us?
Well, I was watching your episodes, and I like.
All right. Neither of these things are coming in late for me. I don't know what's going on, man. My computer's just been really, it's like dropping frames, it feels like. Everything's just running slow ever since I got this OS update. Man. But let's just be 100% clear, right? Everybody hears me now, right? If everybody can hear me, hit the number 5. Type the number 5 into the chat if you can hear me. We're not going to get through this video. I thought for sure 2 hours was going to be plenty of time. to get through this show. No. Nobody's going to hit 5. You guys can't hear me. There's no way. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, see, I hear myself on the show. Nope, not that one. Let's see. You know what? Yeah, see, I hear myself on the show. Five. There you go. Thank you, Steve Long. Thank you, Steve Long. Thank you for hitting the number 5. So I know for sure you can hear me now. All right. Now everybody's messing with me. Do we end the show? All right, here we go. We'll go for another 15 minutes.
Like, hey, you ever watch like Yes Theory? And I have like a decent subscription. You touch the younger demographic. It's uplifting. You're bringing cultures, you know, uniting cultures and everything. And I thought that's great because as somebody who's
this is very painful, alien scientists.
Been on the side
so
of
painful.
State versus state and all that. You know, seeing a different, more uniting kind of message, it was nice to see. And I saw how you affect a lot of people and just the positive vibes. And I thought it would make sense to go through you guys.
Over the past days, you shared with us that you were diagnosed to be on the autism spectrum. Mm-hmm. How has this served you in your life and in your career, and how has it hindered you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know, that I was autistic until I was like in my early 30s. And, I always wondered why, in my personal life, if I get fixated on something and obsessed, what was going on with that. I mean, it served me well in the government because I was super good at, doing intel and like, Dave, we want you to target this facility. Okay, you have 6 months, figure out everything, and of course I do, and it's, that was very good, but I think, it obviously causes me to be very like detail oriented. I want to always tell the truth.
But your instinct is just to say it as it is.
I have to, I have no filter.
What would you tell like a normal person who is like processing all this? Would you give any advice? Or if you could give an advice to like a normal person watching, like what would you tell that person?
Yeah, I mean, I empathize with kind of the shocking nature. It enters, it's a weird
everybody's just
your worldview, right?
Yeah. They're so excited.
Think about it. We're just revealing another aspect of nature. It's just another discovery, like, splitting the atom, or the fact that...
So when Gary Nolan told him about being autistic and that being linked to seeing UFOs and that he's special, is that where he's getting all of this from? I mean, it's not that far-fetched.
The solar system is heliocentric, and the Earth's not in the center. So the humankind, we're not the apex of sentience potentially, and there's, other life out there, whether you believe in God or not, it paints, nature paints with a broad brush. And we're just revealing another really, I think, exciting aspect of nature that I think that'll make us feel a lot less lonely. And like what I was telling you about, I mean, like, I think anybody who's like struggling with meaning or depression or whatever, I mean, maybe this will kind of help, to get them excited. And for young people thinking about what they want to study, and I hope this like inspires people to want to know more. I mean, it's a little scary to find out some pretty shocking things that really can change your worldview, but I think it's generally for the best, yeah.
A question on the people that have come forward to you, because you said that they are colleagues and people that you've worked with for over a decade.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the psychological weight that is on one of the people that are in the program. How on a personal level, how are they even existing?
I think that they, you know, wanted to get the weight off their shoulder, kind of explain, you know, what they thought was wrong, even though they signed a non-disclosure. They're patriotic, they're really good people. Like, these are not evil people or anything like that. But they thought it was a raw deal, because the funny thing is, if you're in an unacknowledged program, you don't even know what you're getting briefed to when you are like, hey, we need you to sign NDA, you're gonna be on something cool. Cool. What is it? We can't tell you until you sign. So, and then they sign it, and then they see all the stipulations, how it's enforced. We're briefed in a very threatening manner. And
he's saying it like we're briefed in a very he's briefed in a very threatening manner, or is
which they never signed it, right?
It just shows to the cynics too, who are like, it would have come out. There'd be photos.
It's just, dude, why would they tell Dave Grusch? Why would they tell Dave Grusch? Because he was on the UAPTF. You think that oh, you're on the UAP task force. Oh, okay, cool. Well, yeah, let me tell you my story about reverse engineered programs that I worked on and alien bodies that I dissected. Because it's some heavy shit, man. And the question was, how did they live? Like, how do they function in everyday society working on that every single day? It's a good question. Because if it's real, like, that's a great, like, at the car wash, at the bank, every second of your day will be thinking about that. How do you function without telling anybody, without sharing that, not just with friends and family, but with colleagues, people you work with? Because apparently all of this stuff is compartmentalized. If you do have a partner, it's one, according to Bob Lazar. And he doesn't answer the question.
No, they enforce this brutally.
He doesn't answer the question.
Brutal enforcement. Yeah. And what was the last special access program that leaked? They don't generally leak.
No, people are like, oh, dude, wouldn't it be broadly leaked or whatever? I'm like, as somebody who is super cleared to a lot of that conventional
so wild.
stuff,
I'm getting your chats so much later. I'm getting your chats in my program so much later than they appear. I just got your $1.99 donation that says 5, Steve Long.
You know, the psychology of the typical
That's wild.
career government
I saw it on the live show,
pension,
but I'm just now seeing it in the chat.
So many that's threatened, you know, they're going to capitulate in most cases, right? And, you know, that was basically what happened to me, but I, you know, just decided to fight the system. I stumbled upon this, which arguably is the most interesting and fascinating and exciting thing ever. Well, why would I go back to doing my normal job and just shutting my mouth and sitting in my office and doing regular national defense stuff? Because our priorities are not even right if this other thing is legit. So,
do you think the fact that you're neurodivergent was this like curveball? Do you think that came into play because your response is so different than what?
I think my response is so analytical. I like don't even think about it emotionally. My divergence really helped keep the train on the tracks. You know, looking at this stuff. They didn't consider my zest to continue the mission. Because, you know, once you get me going, you know, it's hard to pull the brakes on the train.
Because we did something really special right after the hearing. The following morning, we just, you know, brought in the SFAM into the room, and I would say this had to be your first time taking questions from the public like that. No?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I've like never done that.
Wow.
Ever.
How did it feel to just be receiving questions that you just know that they're coming from curiosity, not an
agenda? Oh, Shane who bought all those memberships. Thanks, buddy.
Even if they were skeptical, that's super healthy.
I just got your message.
Like, you shouldn't just be like, oh yeah, if he says it's totally legit. Well, do your own lit review or whatever. And I thought it was super cool. Yeah, and that was cool to see what people were thinking. Yeah. And it gives me kind of a pulse on, you know, non-governmenty people and what their concerns are, not media heads or whatever, right?
One sort of bombshell soundbite from the hearing is Congresswoman Nancy Mace asked you about biologics.
If you believe we have crashed craft, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah, I mean, it is a mind-blowing.
That's not an answer.
Right? It's a little easy.
As I explained in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these crafts. So, yeah. And what I'm saying is not inaccurate, but it's also not really answering your question. Do you mean, oh, you mean extraterrestrial, intelligent extraterrestrial biologics that walk on two legs, have the big almond eyes, the huge heads, that abduct and kill people? Those? Cannot answer. I'll be happy to answer in a confidential setting that I know will never happen. If you'd like that, Senator, Congressman.
Easy to imagine, you know, an artifact or whatever, but when you start talking about, you know, the biological side of it, it really throws you for a loop psychologically. It did for me, and, you know, I talked to the people that, you know, were on that aspect of the program, if you will, and I mean, it comes with the territory. I mean, buckle up, I guess. It's a thing.
Were they alive? Were they dead?
I don't get into specifics. Okay. I know a lot of that stuff.
Out of curiosity, why are you allowed to say that NHI pilots came out of the craft, but you can't go more into
that's
detail?
all I put in the pre-publication stuff that got approved. I mean,
got it.
I could go back and ask for more. Any specific knowledge,
I could go back and ask for more? Well, I'm not going to do that, Jesse Michaels. That would be proof, man. That would be proof, man. This is, just watch him when he answers this question. It's a great question. But there should be 400 other questions just like that. And I know that you can formulate them, Jesse Michaels. I know for sure you can formulate them. Those are the kind of questions that you need to be asking constantly for 7 days while you've got them. Why are you allowed to mention non-human intelligence piloting craft, but you can't tell me whether they're dead or alive? You can't get into the specifics of that?
Were they dead?
I don't get into specifics. Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of that stuff.
Out of curiosity, why are you
know a lot of that stuff.
Say that NHI pilots came out of the craft, but you can't go more into
that's
detail?
all I put in the pre-publication stuff that got approved. I mean,
got it.
I could go back and ask for more. Any specific knowledge I garnered when I was on the other side of the door, if I want to talk about that publicly, everybody who has had a job like I have has to submit it to a thing called DOPSR at the Pentagon. Security Review. You know, even if it's about this stuff. Like, I know that sounds insane, but like, you literally have to say, like, this is what I want to talk about.
Why do you think they approved it?
Catch-22. So they'd have.
Because it's not classified, Jesse. Simple as that. Because it's not classified, man. Great question. But you should know the answer to that. You should know the answer to that. Just because it's DOPSR approved doesn't mean it's it's true. It just means that it's not classified. That's all it means. And if what he's talking about is true, it should be classified. It should be classified.
They'd have to self-identify and highlight their concerns to redact. So the office who would propose a redaction, say it's a 3-letter agency or whatever, so they would have to self-acknowledge. So I think when I submitted that, they had a choice, right? Either we try to sequester Dave's ability to speak publicly and try to tell him no, but then we have to give him a reason and tell him what organization said no. If it got redacted like that and it cited what organization and what security
the music they're playing underneath this video is very you ever watch reality TV and sort of like the goofy person on the show comes in and they play kind of like this like sort of chumpy, you know, I don't know how to explain it because I'm not a musician, but I think you understand what I'm conveying here, hopefully. You know, this music that sort of suggests that they're as dumb as they sound. Why, like, as an editing choice, why did you put this music underneath him while he's explaining this? It's weird. And we're also going to check real quick just the thumbnail. Like, look at this thumbnail. He's swearing under oath with his left hand. John Greenwald pointed that out. Not a big deal, but it's like, if you're going to convey truth, Like you would have had to flip this image. Why? Why would you? It doesn't make any sense sometimes. And then you start watching this video and he's explaining the adoption process and why things aren't classified. It's got this, like clown music underneath it. I don't know if $10 is going to do that, Kimball. Check out the Patreon. And if you got the guts, if somebody's got the guts, you know what? I'll switch my tune. If somebody's got the guts, go check out the Patreon. It's been up there for a while. It's the very last level. So yeah, if somebody wants to do, yeah. I think I'll bring back Believer Lou.
They would have to self-acknowledge. So I think when I submitted that, they had a choice, right? Either we try to sequester Dave's ability to speak publicly and try to tell him no, but then we have to give him a reason and tell him what organization said no. If it got redacted like that and it cited what organization and what security reason it is, I would just publish that. And then the public can make
they wouldn't approve it.
Why,
they wouldn't approve it.
U.S. government's withholding information.
If it's got classified information like alien bodies.
You were also honest in the hearing and definitively said you hadn't seen the bodies. Is that
Not
right?
personally, no.
Not personally.
No.
So
No.
just people who very high trust. You had sort of a lot of intersection with career-wise with them,
but they have the people that I interviewed have, and they were some of the people that were interviewed by the Inspector General, because that was the thing is like people were like, oh, hearsay, whatever. Okay, I understand.
That's just one of the first problems with the video, Zoltan. It's been a mess, technically speaking.
I'm just here as the.
I got to go back through the settings. I think whatever I downloaded last night absolutely is messed with my computer.
Bring the people who do have that knowledge to the right people.
Which feels also that.
It's just weird. It's running like this because I freed up a bunch of space.
That blows the whistle because first-hand knowledge would have put you in a completely different category of being able to disclose this stuff, right?
If I became subject of a non-disclosure agreement by becoming a first-hand guy, actually would have hindered me, and I would have never been able to do this. I think about some stuff I was denied access to.
And thank God you were, right?
If I signed that non-disclosure agreement, I would have absolutely not been able to go public with this.
Then you were like
I would have been trapped.
Fascinating.
So it's actually weird that my lack of that, but knowing the people that do though, and I brought those people to the IG, is the only way I was able to get. So the actual reprisal stuff and the access denial stuff actually enhanced my ability to operate. But I will tell you, I've talked to these people in the program. They are just so afraid because the way it was enforced over the years, the threatening nature of some of their indoctrinations where they're like, this is treason.
So afraid, but they talk to him. So again, he doesn't have firsthand knowledge.
By the way, what's the penalty for treason? Oh, right.
If he doesn't have firsthand knowledge, why are we titling the video 7 Days with the Man Who Confirmed Aliens Exist? Why are we titling the video with with that?
Right, execution, right?
Did you ever at any point try to suss out whether you were being lied to? Because all of these people
100%.
are coming from the same programs, and so presumably there's some level of coordination between them. So how do you kind of get through and just make sure that they're not, meeting in some back room saying, you say this to Dave, I'll say this to Dave,
Yeah, no, for sure. So like, I also went out of my way to find people who don't know each other either, that like, through methods like making sure I'm not getting circular reporting, not a part of some other kind of faction that might want to push a certain narrative out. Me and I had very higher ranking colleagues of mine go, who were part of the same effort in their official capacity, go talk to other people that I didn't
So the UAPTF. Other colleagues in the UAPTF talk to other people.
That they were feeding some of that information back to me. And I had a bunch of people go out just to make sure I wasn't being targeted. I had other people conduct oral history interviews, but they were getting the same information. We took all that, and I'm like, all the people who conducted those interviews, I made them get interviewed by the Inspector General, because we're crossing our T's here, because this shit is crazy. And you can never be perfect, but man, I was so freaking careful to make sure I wasn't getting fed some bullshit. And the quality of people we talk to, if they ever go public, It'll blow your mind who we talk to. I mean, we're talking to
Whoa.
some serious players that were like confirmed by the Senate, you know, years ago.
Look
that
at
we
them,
talked
dude.
to,
They're
and I'll
in,
just
bro.
leave it at that. I mean, I hope that
We'll
they
leave it at
eventually
that,
go
man.
public.
I just gave you a whole
understand
bunch of information. Trust me, bro.
reputational hazards.
Trust me, bro.
Legacy.
Trust me, bro. I talked to guys who were part of programs, who did things, man. Just wait, man. Just wait. If these guys ever come public, oh, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. You're gonna shit yourself.
They might have a slightly different thought process than me about protecting the information and what should be acknowledged. But I think if they want to do the right thing before they kind of sunset, you know, in their lives, I think this would be a noble thing to do if they're watching right now and, you know, they know who they are and it'd be great. Yeah.
The past days have gotten me up to like, okay, 90%, you know, trust this guy. This was like taking the 90 to 100.
90 to 100.
That part and see his
100%.
eyes light up and certain things that he talked about. That ultimately, to me, that's my compass in my life. It's not about someone giving me a set of information that I believe in or not, but it's a certain feeling that I get from another human, and that's ultimately that's where this journey started. Following curiosity of, you know, me.
That's the worst way to confirm anything. And so there you go. That's how you got this title. 7 Days with the Man Who Confirms that Aliens Exist. I looked into his eyes, man. When his eyes lit up a certain part of the story, I knew he was being honest. I knew he was telling the truth. I knew he was trying to do the right thing. There you go, right there. There's no new information. There's no new data. There's nothing. There's nothing in this documentary that is new, mind-blowing, otherworldly, confirmation of alien life, confirmation that aliens are existing within our society and even killing some of us. You know, the stories change, the answers change from person to person to person. We're hanging up on journalists and actual media, and we're giving exclusives to Yes Theory, American Alchemist, The Debrief, and News Nation. And we want to give special thanks to all of the grifters and all of the people who have some kind of credibility that helped us make this possible and gave us access to the Grusch Rush. Gary Nolan. Let's see. Jeremy Corbell. They're all right here. Jacques Vallée, Robert Hastings, Lou Elizondo, Leslie Kane, James Fox, Ralph Blumenthal, all of these wonderful inspirations and folks who helped us put this together. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke that you can make a title like this and it's not misinformation, or it's not false news or fake news. I know that's a real buzzword, but it is. This is fake news. 8.53 million people just got lied to or taken for a ride. You know? Well, not really, only 450,000, but you get my point. I'm going to give this one a thumbs down, guys. And I'm not going to subscribe. But this is whatever. This is still algorithm love. I'll give you algorithm love for the production and everything else that went into it. But outside of that, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. Partly because my camera's going crazy. Microphone's shutting off. It's been a nightmare. I'm sorry, guys. Thanks for being patient. Thanks for telling me. I mean, the chats were coming in late, so I didn't even see that my mic was muted for a while because the chats are literally 10 minutes behind. And at some points, like, it's so, yeah. Anyway, there you have it. Our watch party of 7 days with the man who confirmed aliens exist, even though, yeah, he didn't really do that at all. He didn't really do that at all. He didn't confirm anything. He didn't give us any information whatsoever. It's just a bunch of trust me bros. A bunch of trust me bros. Aliens, Jeremy. Dude, I am thanks for watching. I'm sorry this was the show you tuned into. I updated my computer yesterday and everything is running like absolute garbage today. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But at least I'm not vacuuming up my dog shit during a live stream. I got that going for me. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna go make some dinner, watch a movie or something. Thank you all for embarking on this journey of discovery together. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and thank you for subscribing and becoming a member of Lube Reviews. Until next time, thank you so much for helping raise the bar, and good night, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully with a better stream. And by the way, tomorrow we're going to be having, I believe, Charlie Wise on the show. We're going to be talking about the aerial school setting, and we're going to be talking about the John Mack and everything surrounding that story. There's so much to talk about with Charlie Weiser. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace. Thank you all so much who donated today as well. Thank you so much for all the donations today. It was absolutely amazing and epic. I can't believe one of the most technically terrible shows that we've had in a while was the most supported. So thank you all so damn much. And I also wanted to quickly give a shout out to a couple of my Patreons that we've had sign up here in the last month. So give me a moment. I'm bringing it up. So want to say thank you to Andrea Font for the $5 pledge per month, and Lucy Day with the $10 pledge per month. Thank you so damn much. Again, just incredible that people are actually doing this. And I believe I mentioned this back in July, but Derek Case with an $86.44 pledge per month. He's actually opted in for an actual bill. That is one of our tiers. If you want a bill, a genuine bill sent to you for $84 or $86.44, sign up for us on the Patreon. And if you got the guts, please sign up for the Patreon. Anyway, y'all, have a great night. I love you. Peace.